The meeting has now begun.
Morning everyone, it's Roberta Waite here from Alloy Computer Products. Thank you for joining me this morning for a presentation on the Yealink video conferencing solution. I'll just wait a couple of minutes to get some more participants, give them opportunity to get on board. Just a show of hands, can you all hear me properly? Fantastic, yep. All right, and also can you see the presentation? It's got a big building called Yealink Video Conferencing Solution. Just put up your hand as well if you can see that. Yep. Okay. All right. I'll come back in a minute and then we'll get started. Okay, let's get started. So the Yealink video conferencing solution, everyone is quite familiar probably with the Yealink handsets, their audio desk phones, headsets and conference phones. So they've been very strong in that arena for a long time. I'm going to change slides. Just let me know if you can see the next page. All right, hands up. Great. Okay, cool. So everything's in working order. Excellent. All right, let's get into it. You can ask questions by chat along the way, but at the end of the session, we'll have a question and answer time as well for any of this gear. I've also got Adam Wells, who is our head of our tech support and our administrator, and is our foremost expert in video conferencing. So he can also ask or answer any of your more deeper technical questions. Today I'll just present the product range and where they fit into the market and how you would use them. So just a quick brief overview. Yealink has been in the SIP market for about, well, here they say 17 years. They've only been in the SIP market in communications, starting with desk phones, and now more recently in the last 5 years they've included video conferencing and conferencing as well as part of their suite. They have grown from being a startup to being the #1 globally in terms of SIP phone provider in the world. So quite an achievement. Here in Australia, their phones are very well known. The T4 series, 42, 46s for instance, are the fastest moving handsets that we have here in Australia. So very excellent adoption, known for their innovative R&D, for their attentiveness to onboarding features that the market wants and market demands, and also for the reliability of their products. So as a distributor, we find that Yealink is a dream vendor to partner with, because they're coming out with new products and also keeping abreast and also ahead of where the market is in their focus areas, and their products have a very, very low return rate. We love that about them because it means that our post-sale support is minomised, you know, in terms of warranty handling, etc. From a resellers or an ITSP or a service provider's perspective, they're also, for those very same reasons, it means that you've become familiar with a particular vendor. They have extensive relationships with PBX manufacturers and other, you know, telcos and a broad range of products, platforms that are available in the market, including, you know, more recently Microsoft. They also, their products mean that they cause you a low footprint in terms of support. So, you know, when they're put out in the field, they do work. They've got excellent software and services built around being able to support and provision and maintain those phones, and also this gear as well, the devices that you'll see in this presentation, and also very, very low post-sales, you know, return to base or return back warranty turnover. So really great product and company to back. Lot of customers, and obviously, you know, a lot of partnerships worldwide. I'll just move on from there. So let's have a look at the Yealink video conferencing solution. Down the bottom, you'll see all of the possibilities of what you can do in the Yealink stream. Now, when it was first introduced about 5 years ago into the market, it was an MCU-based video conferencing endpoint. So it was a room system to room system style. You could have 4 participants, 4 room systems, or you could have 8. Now they've designed room systems that include small huddle rooms, medium-sized rooms, you know, with all of the AV included, large meeting rooms, and also auditorium rooms. So you can see the Vici 880, multiple cameras, multiple speaker systems being able to connect into a mixer, so that you've got a full experience, you know, for an auditorium, a conference, or a training room. On the other side of the scale, personalising it, it means that your participants can come in from almost any device from anywhere. So as long as they've got a desktop, a mobile or a mobile phone, or even if they've got a only audio, then you can still come into the conference. They've also got the personal video phones like the T49, which is going to become the T59G, the T59, it's the VP59 actually in the price list, and the T58V. So there's a broad range of endpoints that are available in terms of being able to connect into the Yealink video conferencing. Now, above the line, there's a number of different ways in which you can actually, I guess, connect into the MCU, or the part that actually conducts and manages the actual video conferencing. So if you've got a VC 800 unit, that itself, it's got an MCU built into it. You can have up to 24 concurrent participants, which is, you know, connected into that system, or you can actually go to the YMS, which enables you to have up to thousands. Right, so the YMS is something that we'll focus on a fair bit, because it's where they've just come out with the latest versions of that product released earlier this year. and it's got a lot of added on functionality to make this a truly enterprise level video conferencing system. So you can connect multiple devices, their room systems or their endpoints that coming from a browser, a client or a mobile phone, and you can also connect in third-party product. So legacy product back into its SIP, you can connect to Skype for Business. So it's really a system that enables, you know, anybody from anywhere to come in and to be able to conference. So the Yealink meeting server, great place to start in terms of the guts of the video conferencing system. So they've inbuilt a lot of the necessary technology to be able to connect any sort of system back into a centralized conferencing administration. So you've got an MCU that's on board, so that is your guts of, you know, being able to do video conferencing, but it's also got the ability to be able to have SIP registration server. It's got the ability to have a traversal server, so you can bypass gateways. You've got the ability to be able to put in like H323, the legacy systems, bring their conference connector into, so it's like a bridge. It's got a meeting management system as well, so, you know, to be able to schedule meetings or to create ad hoc, to be able to also include all of your contacts in there, you know, and call out or dial out either by scheduled meeting or by invitation, have guests come in, or just, you know, ad hoc call them and have and fire up a face-to-face meeting. There's also built into it device management. So all of the devices that come from Yealink, whether they be the soft client or whether they're one of the Vici systems, enables you to be able to provision, set them up, and also then to update firmware and the ongoing maintenance and diagnostics of those endpoints as well. It has an enterprise directory server that's, you know, for being able to map your enterprise contacts back into the YMS. It has a WebRTC server, so that enables your endpoints to be able to come in via just their browser rather than having to download an actual client. It has a gateway for Skype for Business and also has a SIP trunk gateway, so anybody coming in just by a SIP call is able to also conference into the system. So there's just one license that enables any one of these abilities. So the way the YMS works is that you install it, and then every concurrent user on there is licensed. So you just need to make sure that you've got concurrent licenses that have been established for the number of participants that are going to be connecting into your conferencing at any one time. So the meeting server, we'll just look at it from a different diagram. When we have a look at the Yealink endpoints down the bottom, they can connect into the YMS. So you could have any one of the meeting rooms, the VCs, you could have a video phone, you could have the soft client desktop, or you could have the mobile client. It has the ability to be able to integrate into third-party video conferencing systems. You can also come in via WebRTC, a browser, link into the YMS. It can also handle all of your external call, you know, either PSTN, SIP trunk, or also the Skype for Business gateway. So this can connect to a number of different means or number of different people wanting to come in and also connect into you, which is great. So if you're an organisation and have rolled out the Yealink, you know, as your video conferencing system, it does mean that you can still connect to people that are using something else. So for instance, maybe they're using a cloud system of some sort like Blue Jeans, or maybe they're using Skype for Business, or maybe they are using a Polycom or a Cisco system, you know, as well. So it does enable you to be able to connect various people back into the YMS and then have them join, you know, your conference. So the Yealink meeting server, it is a cloud-based distributed architecture. So we'll have a little bit more of a look at that, but it basically means that the who owns the YMS is actually the company that owns the YMS, and they would implement that on a server, on-prem, or in a local data center, or, say for instance, on Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure, as an example. So there's a number of different areas in which this software-based management system can be implemented, installed. As a distributed architecture, it does mean that you can have multiple installs of the YMS. It's not licensed. As I said, the system itself is paid for by the concurrent participant licensing that's included in this. But with multiple installs or connected, you've got fallbacks. So there's full redundancy. If one site happens to be down, you can redirect connections back through another install. There's synchronization that's happening all the time between every install as well, and that includes the management of all the devices, etc. By having it distributed in this manner, it means that you can actually support more concurrent calls. So for instance, you might have an install that is, in country A, and then you've got another one that's in a different country, and then you can coordinate the ability to be able to use local connections back to the YMS at that local site, and then you've only got the conferencing happening, across international borders, between the two YMSs. So this is another advantage of being able to use YMS in a distributed architecture. It's compatible with third-party devices, so it supports H.263+, which is what a lot of legacy Vici devices use for their video stream. It supports a lot of third-party accounts also on the YMS. It supports LDAP and also supports gate keeping and H.4.620. It also supports other third-party compatibility with devices like, I think, the Polycom, the Cisco, and the Huawei's. So we can gateway, so a stream that's coming from one of those third-party products can stream back into the YMS as well. They'd be viewed probably as one little screen as part of that. It also supports WebRTC. So in your browser, there's some functionality that is available, for you to be able to say, for instance, possibly share your screen, see other participants, do chat. It can support up to 1080 pixels at 30 frames per second video and content sharing, which is actually, on par with where an enterprise system should be at. So being natively WebRTC, it means that there's no plugin to install also for that endpoint, no client to download. It's also compatible with Microsoft Skype for Business. Now, I did talk about in last week's webinar about the Microsoft and the Yealink Teams Skype for Business endpoints that support Skype for Business and Teams. So the YMS is something that you can actually connect the Skype for Business back into YMS, and you can also use native YMS video conferencing, Skype for Business and Teams endpoints as well, directly without having to use YMS. But YMS can be a conduit for being able to use those endpoints back into a Yealink video conferencing system. Now, as you can see, that is not yet available in the feature set. It is due to come out this quarter or next quarter. Another feature is that it does support streaming to YouTube or from YouTube. So it enables you to be able to customize that capability as well, to change some settings and have some controls over the start and pause and the end of those conferences. It has a powerful MCU, so at the moment, the MCU specification they haven't reached the limitation in terms of all the installs that are out there in terms of concurrent virtual meeting rooms. It's only limited by the resources that you install it on. So the number of distributed YMS that you might have installed and the resources that they're actually installed on, so the RAM and the disk space, etc. So and also the bandwidth that you would have available to you. You can have up to 200 active participants in one meeting. It supports 3 server stacks and has dual 1080p 30 frames per second video and content sharing capability. And then also the ability to be able to have all of the mixed endpoints, the different bandwidths, the resolutions, the frame rates, and the different protocols that are being used. This is pretty powerful. So as a system, being able to bring all of the different endpoints, their resources, their bandwidth, the kind of video streaming protocol that they're using, the resolution and the frame rate, pulling that all together and continuing to have a cohesive, lag-free video conference with a very high uptime. Means that it is quite a powerful system in terms of their vision and the reason for why they want the YMS, what they're trying to achieve with the YMS. The YMS is scalable to 1,000 participant meeting, so you can start with just a few and you can continue to add licenses as you go along. So the licenses are actually applied for and then annually renewed, and you continue to add those as you require them. There's also rich meeting features, which include peer-to-peer meeting, you can schedule meetings, you can do ad hoc meeting, let's meet now kind of capability. You can use it as a training tool, so you can have classroom setting. We've got multiple cameras, camera pointed at the speaker and then a camera pointed at the classroom. Or at the whiteboard. Down the track, they are going to include things like, and it's not very far away, interactive whiteboard capability so that you can actually annotate, you can add an electronic whiteboard that can connect into the meeting and have that used as your data source. The goal, because it is about making communication accessible by anybody from anywhere, from any device, it does mean that they are simplifying the capability of somebody to actually enter into the meeting or conduct a meeting. So the idea is having one touch, join the meeting and you're in, and also simplified, easy to understand conference control. So from an administrator or a person that is wanting to conduct the meeting and also the participants, we're trying to remove as much intervention as possible of needing someone that is an IT administrator or someone that's technically capable to be able to come in and have to set up every single meeting. This is so that users can actually utilize the system, set up a meeting and conduct the meeting and have people enter the meeting with as little intervention as possible and as easy as possible. So YMS, there's a lot of abundant meeting control features that are included in there. So there's permission based on the users, for a particular meeting. You can have, for instance, fire up a multi-party meeting automatically. You can change the layout of it. You can have customized polling mode if you want to be able to also then include, oh, actually, I'm not quite sure what that is. I'll have to get Adam to just clarify what the customized polling mode is. Do you want to just throw up something in chat, Adam, with regards to what that might be? There's also external control, so third parties that are coming into it, you can actually control the third-party devices as well, and you've got control over the messaging and the banner, etc., etc. So Adam will probably... Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought it might be. All right, so what Adam's saying, so that I can just verbalise back to the meeting for the recording of the meeting, is that the polling mode is obviously to ask questions about, you know, what did you think, or, you know, how many people have actually used a video conferencing system, how big are you as a company, etc., and then you can answer those things. So you can actually add in questions or multiple choice, you know, as part of the at the start of the meeting or during the meeting or at the end of the meeting, which is, you know, pretty useful. Okay, it also has a variety of different security and, you know, stability or correction capability built into it as well, which is really important from an enterprise perspective. It has recording capability. And then you can actually have live video on demand, and you can share recording within the organisation as well. The YMS also has an open interface SDK for you to be able to customise how you can schedule or do scheduling, and it can be integrated into, say, for instance, from your office calendar, you know, capability. Let's just say it's, you know, Outlook as an example. YMS also has an open interface, you know, with a bunch of features there, you know, with respect to the audio IVR, the SIP trunk IVR, so that when you click on it, it can come up and initiate some a pre-recorded message saying, you know, do you want to do this or do you want to do that, or what option do you want to go with? And also being able to include things like the username and, you know, etc., information about the person before they come into the meeting. You can also include things like where they're coming from, so you can customise it to collect information about the endpoints that they're coming in from. You can also include things like logos, so change the logo of what people are seeing. So if it's your company, you can bring up, you can put in the company logo as an example, or a meeting logo, or say, for instance, it's a conference logo that you're wanting to allow people to be able to see. So the roadmap for YMS is at the moment we've got 1.3 that's just been released, so they've included a number of features, and as you can see in terms of where we're at, sorry, it's actually at 2019 Q1. We've got all of these features, YMS3 collaboration, about to be launched. Not quite sure what the date of that is, but they're including a lot more of the ongoing features. So this is a product that has got an enormous amount of resources being thrown at it, and it's a focal point for Yealink in terms of developing further features and really strengthening this product as a you know, the meeting server going forward. We'll have a look at some of the endpoints. So the VC200 is a huddle room. It's a single unit. It includes a camera. It has optical zoom, and also has a camera that actually does rotate internally. So the physical camera, you don't see that actually rotating, but internally it does. It's got a little sound bar included and a mounting bracket, which typically would fit on top of a screen. So we've got a unit here, the VC200. The optical zoom on it, it's sitting in a room that is probably about 6 to 7 meters long. And the optical zoom does not diminish or lose focus whether you're at the front of the room or whether you're at the back of the room. It's actually pretty good. The sound that the mics that are on this system, as well as the speakers, also have got excellent pickup even from the back of the room, we've found, and also the speakers can project you know, audio sound to the back of the room, and there's not really any, there's no distortion at all. It's actually really quite clear. So as a little unit, the VC200 is actually pretty powerful. This unit also will become Skype for Business and Teams compatible. The VC500 is medium size, so it includes a camera, it includes a conference phone with wireless mics as well, or you can just purchase the camera MC and the wireless mics. The VC500 is an endpoint, so it needs to either plug into a VC800 MCU or the YMS. Same with the VC200, it's just an endpoint, a room system endpoint. It needs to plug into an MCU, so a video conferencing system, either the VC800 or the YMS. The VC800 includes the MCU, so you can have up to 24 simultaneous participants, and they can be from desktops, mobile, or from one of either the VC800 or the VC200, or in fact any of the endpoints that you see there. It's licensed for the number of concurrent users that you would have. And in this case, the desktop licenses, if people are coming by desktop, are purchased and implemented. The VC800 includes a camera, it includes the conference phone, it includes the wireless mics to go with that as well. You can have up to 4 wireless mics implemented as part of the system. And then we move up to the VC880. The VC880 is multi-camera, multi-AV, multiple audio devices as well, so speakers and mics. There is a kit that does come with the VC880, but it has the ability to be able to plug into it, say a mixer, and then you can extend the audio capability of it. So the VC880 is the auditorium room system where you're going to be having more than 20 people sitting there. So here's an example of, in a company, an organisation, where you can fit medium-sized meeting rooms, large meeting rooms, and then also your smaller huddle rooms. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Starting with the large room, the VC800 to 12 times optical zoom. It is PTZ camera, so moving camera. It contains the codec and the camera all in one, so it's one single unit that it sits on top of, and you can mount that. It sits on a desktop. It sits, on a shelf or something like that. You can see the back of it, so it has the ability to be able to plug in, obviously, the TVs straight into it, your network, and also, a couple of other things. So it does include a line in and line out, for connecting speakers and mics as well back into this unit. It comes with a VCH80, which is a content sharing unit. So as you can see down there, you can connect a PC into it and or a laptop and be able to share the content, like for instance, like I am now, or share an application and present that back into the conference. You also can connect the conference phone, so it comes with the CP960 with the 2 wireless mics as well included. All of this kit is, including the cables, all come with the VC800. There is nothing extra that the customer needs to go out and purchase as part of this kit. No extra NUCs or no extra, except for the screen itself. The VC800 enables or the 880 will enable you to be able to have multiple cameras also connected back into it, and it enables you to be able to manage the different views of each of one of those cameras as well. The VC800 is deployable with just one single network cable, back into your network. You can see the layout there. So somebody with a laptop has actually got a cable that goes back into the VH50. There is also a wireless dongle, so it doesn't need to be a cable. It comes with a wireless dongle, so that can be connected to the laptop and then wirelessly connected back to the hub, to the VC800 to be able to share content. The actual CP960 as well can be connected wirelessly. So on your meeting room, you've just got the one cable that needs to be connected between the VC800 MCU and the hub, but the rest of the gear that's on there is all wireless. Yealink, with its conferencing and the CP960, actually patented some smart audio functionality. So it does enable you to be able to filter out non-human noise. Like, for instance, if you are doing data share, you can't hear the click, click, click of a nearby keyboard. It also enables a greater discernment of between speaker, and sometimes you have various other people in the meeting might be whispering or talking in low key to each other. So it does actually discern between who is speaker and also the background noise that might be occurring. And it can distinguish between what is noise and what is voice. In terms of the video side of it, it consumes half bandwidth compared to your typical H.264 with the same video quality. So 264 HP, it's called, and supports 1080p on 512 bandwidth. Typically, in the past, 1080p for optimal video quality, we always recommended 1 meg, but the Yealink system actually can get away with half that bandwidth. The VC800 also enables you to have up to 4 wireless contact sharing as well back into the system, which is great. So you can have multiple people in the meeting being able to share their content at the same time. Some other specs, in terms of the VC800, I think we've pretty much gone through all of this. I did mention that it has the ability to be able to conference 24 simultaneous participants into the meeting. It can be divided into 2 virtual meeting rooms. So it can conduct one meeting and then also host another meeting that is going back into its MCU. It has 12 times optical camera capability, 1080, 60 frames per second, content sharing. The video codec itself supports up to H.265, which is the half the bandwidth to 264 capability. It also has, so that's the 512 K of bandwidth instead of your typical 1 meg. That's based on the 30 frames per second. It includes the wireless expansion mics. It includes the touchscreen TV support as well, and wireless content sharing. It has the capability built into it. It has the capability to recover packets or bad, if you've got a lossy network that you're running from, say for instance one of the endpoints is coming in, it can actually recover packet loss that is occurring. It's in this instance they're saying that it is resistant up to 30% of packet loss, so that you can still continue to have connection and be connected to the video conference even when you are on less than optimal quality of service connection. It's got some ports that are included in there, and also includes some of the line-in, line-outs, the standard 3.5mm plugs on it, and also includes 5 USB ports as well. The VC500 is an endpoint. It does include a codec in there. It has a 5 zoom optical camera included in there. It has the ability to be able to, it's not a physical PTZ camera, but it does have optical ability to be able to zoom around and tilt in a room. It can handle up to 1080p, 60 frames a second video quality, and has the ability to be able to include 4 wireless microphones connected straight into it. The VC500 includes wireless, the wireless CP960 can be connected wirelessly back into the VC500 via a, well, the mics actually, I should say, not the CP960 itself. So the mics are connected back, via DECT to the CP960. So the VC500, it's quite compact, comes in a smallish box. It's quite compact. It's got the codec and the camera built into it. The audio is separated out from the VC500, and it includes a wireless content sharing. So again, it includes the wireless adapter to be able to content share from a PC or your laptop. It includes all of the other standard features in terms of the video recovery capability as well. And then the small huddle room, the VC200. It has a 6 beam microphone array at the front, and includes 2 wireless microphones that you can add optionally to it. So the wireless mics would be the same ones that you see with the CP960. It's Android based. So because it's Android based, this is why the VC200 is going to be Skype for Business and Teams compliant, and that's going to be available not too far away. Probably we're expecting it to actually become available for those platforms in the next month. It includes a 16 gigabit ROM on board of it. It also comes with the wireless dongle for content sharing, so that's all part of the kit. Has built-in Bluetooth, and the only optional part of this system is if you want to include the 2 wireless mics as part of it. So it's quite easy to deploy. It's got a bracket that enables you to be able to put it onto the top of a screen. And with its camera, it's got a sufficient angle capability in terms of the optical movement of the camera to be able to give you 103 degrees. So it's typical of, 4 people, you can see this sort of the angle there of people seated at a table, and the distance from it being about 2 to 3 meters. So it actually has fairly reasonable for, I think, a small meeting room. The VC200 has a 6 beam forming array of microphones built into it. So excellent pickup. It's got a distance of 5 meters, which, we've tested here, and I mentioned at the start that we've got a training room here and we've implemented it in there, and it actually works really well in terms of voice pickup from the front of the room as well as the back of the room. You can see the plug-in dongle there, which is for content sharing. So it's more than just a small little normal dongle that you would, you'd plug in. It's got a little, cable also built into it. So it's less likely to actually end up being taken away with the laptop and lost. So, one thing is just, make sure that it's not, somebody doesn't walk away with it. So intuitive remote control for the interactive TV. There is a remote that you can use on the ability to be able to navigate the actual video conference, and also the camera, and I guess the other controls, for being able to change some settings, as you as an endpoint, being able to do the data share, etc. The VC room endpoints, the VC 200 has got a new GUI that's been included into it. So if anybody has used the VC 200 in the past, that's been updated now. So it looks quite different. It's all block colors and just very easy to navigate and utilize, so that when you do click on a block, it sort of stands out and you can click on it and invoke that function. So very easy to navigate around on. Now we'll come to the end. The VC880 for auditorium for the large conference and auditorium usage. So it comes with a standalone MCU. The cameras themselves that will come with this, it can support multiple cameras. So you buy the MCU on its own, and you buy the cameras and the audio gear that you want to go with it separately as well. There is a certain amount of cabling as well that you can add in there. So all of these items need to be pulled together as part of a kit, and you just add in what you require to formulate that kit. And as you go along, you can actually increase the functionality or expand its functionality by buying another camera, another mic, or another speaker to add into this, as well as being able to then connect the output of this back into a mixer. And from the mixer, you might have an entire audio sound system, to create the best, sound pickup and speaker, going back into some amps into a very large auditorium or very large training room. The 880 is similar to the 800 in that it will support up to 24 sites or 24 concurrent participants coming back into the VC 800. So you could have a VC 880 installed in the auditorium. You may have a smaller meeting room or another meeting room connected to it. So it could be another VC 800. It could be a VC 500 or a VC 200, or it could be folks coming in from their homes or from their desktop, or mobile, being able to come into the conference as well. If you have a VC880 and hanging off it is another VC800, which also supports 24 users, you can have both of those supporting up to the 24, although one shared between them. So additional 23 themselves and another 22, if that makes sense. And those can be combined back into the single video conference. So key features of the VC room endpoints. The microphone array, powerful in terms of 6 meters, excellent voice communication, has got the patented Yealink noise-proof technology built into the speaker and the mics. It can support wireless microphones. It has what they call super error cancellation technology, for want of a better word, which is enables endpoints, the VC 200, 500, 800 and 880, to be able to resist or correct up to 30% of packet loss. It can support the new H.265 streaming codec, which uses half the bandwidth over the traditional 264, which was, for the equivalent was 1 meg, based on the 1080p 30 frames per second. It uses standard network cables for connectivity. So let's just say you might lose some of the cables. You can use standard cables to be able to connect the system back into your network. Has powerful built-in MCU of the 800s and the 880 for 24-way 1080p So when you buy the licensing, you can buy the options of 8, 16 or 24 concurrent connections, and they're all at 1080p. And it also has the ability to be able to connect the 1+8 multi-camera solution. So the Yealink enables you to be able to pull together a whole range of different AV and platforms, for one powerful system. So the video audio engine that's included, Yealink has developed all of this from the ground up. They haven't OEM'd these endpoints or the guts of the MCU from third party. They have actually developed these from the ground up. They own the patents to some of the inbuilt technology, like for instance the error correction, the 30% resistant super error correction capability that they have. So that is all in their control, and they'll continue to develop and build upon that capability over, as we go forward. They have interconnection, or the idea is to be able to have interconnection with third-party cloud partners. So they've got partnerships at the moment with all of these guys that you see here, to be able to utilize somebody that might be in a BlueJeans conference or uses BlueJeans as their video conferencing, and then connect that back into the YMS. And vice versa, the Yealink endpoints can be connected as an endpoint back into these conferencing platforms. So I'll just quickly go over. I'm not going to go through these screens in great detail, except to say that the PowerPoint will be uploaded onto our website, and if you want more information about the specific functionality, here's an example of integration with, for instance, BlueJeans. It does utilize the meeting schedule display and some of the other features that you will see as part of the BlueJeans, as a guest coming in, and you can utilize the endpoint from Yealink to be able to enter into the meeting space for BlueJeans. Similarly for things like Videxio as well. So they're the two that are currently we've shown and are supported. The others also are plans for being supported, if not already released and being supported. Now, the latest in the development of the video conferencing is that what we saw in terms of VC200, the VC500, the VC800 and the VC880. So we have a look at the 4 room system hardware room systems from Yealink, will become available and be certified for Skype for Business, O365 and Microsoft Teams. Because they're Android based, it means that they will be forward capability will be able to be certified with Microsoft Teams. So the VC200 will continue to be called the VC200, and you can see that down the bottom, the huddle room, which enables up to 2 to 6 people. Your VC500 is actually going to be relabeled. Because it is a meeting room endpoint, it's got a couple of other features included. The Teams, or the Skype for Business endpoint client needs to be loaded somewhere. So it will the meeting rooms, the medium and the large meeting room, will include a NUC and cables on board of those that have got the Skype for Business or the Teams software loaded on there, to then connect that back into Skype or Teams as an endpoint. So the kits will come from Yealink. Don't need to source anything other than the screens separately, the NUC, the client, the cameras, the MCU, the audio, the gear. All of those kits will be available. The data content sharing will all be available as part of a kit from Yealink. So it's a single vendor source, for the meeting rooms. They will be called the MVC 500 and MVC 800. The audio conferencing, the Auditorium conferencing kit, the VC880, is going to be called the VC900. So you'll see those on the Yealink website. You can have a look at some of the specifications that are going to be coming on those. The MVC 500 and 800 are due for release any time now. They are available as units, except that we need the rubber stamp certification as the final part from Microsoft, and then they can start shipping. So we've got orders in place for demo kit to come out. The final part of all of this is, as you see on the far left, is the video phone, the VP59. It's also an Android-based endpoint, and that also will be Skype for Business and Teams capable. So as a standalone item, that doesn't need a PC. It can connect directly back into Skype or for Teams for quick conferencing. So it might be, say, in a foyer or in an area where you don't have a PC where you've got this. It also means that you can detach the actual camera and connect it via HDMI cable back to a larger screen if you want, and also then connect wireless mics and speakers or a sound bar that will also be available to be able to convert this little endpoint into a larger, semi-huddle room. So here's the solutions: the MVC 800, the 500, the VC 200, and also the 59V. They are an extension of what we just covered in terms of the VC side, but they are certified for these Microsoft platforms. So that's about it. If you've got any questions, please throw up your questions now via chat. I've got Adam here also that can answer any of the questions. If you want me to go back to any of the pages so that we can look at them in further detail, I can certainly do that now. Or you can just send me an email or send an email to Adam and we can answer your questions with regards to anything that you've seen here today. The VC200, we have one here. We also have a VC800. If you want to demonstrate any of the gear back to your customer, because the gear is not particularly cheap, it's not like a phone where we can just loan them out and you can test. With video conferencing, you always need, something to video conference to. So there's, one end and then the other end to be able to test the gear. What we recommend is, let's start by doing a desktop or WebRTC conference so that you can see, what it looks like and familiarize yourself, with its capability. And if your customer is happy with that quality and the specifications, then let's move towards then doing a proof of concept with actual gear itself. So we just run it through two phases in terms of enabling equipment to be available, for you to have a look at. So any questions? Let's have a look. I think I've got a couple here. Okay, Adam. All right. Just throwing up his email address. Anyone got any questions that they want to throw up right now? Okay. I'll take that everybody has gotten the information that is fine with everything that's been presented today. As I said, I didn't want to go into too deep detail about the actual, particular specs. It was just to show and tell in terms of what was available from the Yealink, and just to emphasize the fact that, the Yealink video conferencing is something that has a lot of R&D behind it. It will continue to be a focal point for Yealink because of their interest in onboarding to the Microsoft platform, which, as you know, is strongly focused on collaboration and meetings. And so therefore it rounds out their range, you know, on both phones, desk phones, audio side of it, and also all of the video capability on these room systems. The video conferencing from Yealink, in a very short space of time, they've developed an enormous capability on top of what first came out as just a piece of hardware, MCU with a camera and a speaker, to develop, you know, soft points, mobile endpoints, a management system in the cloud, or on premise, which, you know, enables you to have all of the built-in tools necessary that you will need for being able to connect pretty much any kind of endpoint back into a video conference, a Yealink conference, or vice versa, have your Yealink endpoints being able to connect back into third-party conferencing systems. If you've got any questions, please send me an email or just pick up the phone, give me a call. Happy to have a discussion with regards to it. We are definitely keen on helping you to be able to promote this to your customers. We have a team of 5 tech support people here that do know the products, and we can support and answer questions and help you to also spec up any requirements from the customer's perspective. We do a lot of pre-sales on this area, and we've got the expertise to be able to assist you and help guide and navigate you with requirements from your customers as well. So that's it from me. Thank you very much for joining me today to have a look at the Yealink video conferencing gear. And yeah, as I said, I'm open to phone calls, emails, just contact us and we're more than happy to help you out. So thank you for now, and no doubt I'll speak to you.